Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to set up this VR controller that I made. And it's important that you watch every part of this video because if you miss one little part, it can screw everything up. But it's relatively simple, so we're just going to get right into this. So I will have sent you this folder here. Don't mind how messy my desktop is. I will have sent you this folder called My VR Stuff. First thing you're going to do, and this is just a blank project, but you can just drag this into the one that you already have. You're going to drag in My VR Stuff, this project, and it's going to pop up with this error here because we don't have what we need installed. So you're going to want to go to Package Manager, and this is a different thing that we've been using in the class. And you're going to type in XR, and it's this XR Interaction Toolkit, and you're going to want to install and import that. Okay, now while it's importing, it's going to pop up this warning, probably, anyway. And it's just going to basically enable something. It's going to ask, do you want to enable the backends? Doing so will restart the editor. You're going to click yes for this, and it's going to restart the editor. And at this point, you just let it do its thing, and it's going to ask if you've made a backup, which, by the way, it would be a good idea to make a backup of your project before doing this, just in case it messes anything up. It shouldn't, but please make a backup just in case before clicking on I made a backup. Go ahead. So you're going to do that, and it's going to restart the project. Okay, now after it's done that and it's started up the editor, you'll know it worked because you'll see this XRI folder. The next step, and this is really important, you're going to go into Edit, Project Settings, and then you're going to scroll down until you see XR Plugin Management right here. It's going to say Install XR Plugin Management. This is very important. So we're going to click Install. This is basically going to allow us to support different types of headsets. Don't worry about this error down here right now, or ever, actually, it's not a problem. So this right here, this is where you're going to select what you're going to be supporting in this project. So I'm just going to select Oculus for now because that's just so it doesn't take as long because that's what I'm using for my headset. But I mean, realistically, if you wanted, you could select all of these. But since I'm just using an Oculus to test this, I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to download what it needs. So that way it can support my Oculus. Okay, so now that that's done, to test if this is working, in My VR Stuff, this folder here, I did create just a very simple example scene. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna open this up, and it's literally just a boxed room with my VR rig that I made and this basic pickup object. Now, one thing before you do test this, you will have to, these do need to have layers on them so that way the object doesn't interact with the player's physics. So what you're gonna go ahead and do is create a player layer and then also an interactable layer. You're going to tag the basic pickup as interactable, the VR rig as player. You will also need to do this and only don't change the children. You will also need to do this when you drag it into your own scene, the VR rig and the pickup stuff to go off of into your own scene. Then you'll go to Edit, Project Settings. You're going to go to Physics. And then you'll see here we have player and interactable. We're going to turn off the collisions for that. And then you should be able to click play and this will work. So I'm going to put on my headset now. Let it load up. Okay. So go ahead and pick up my controllers. The only downside to this is I don't have the hand models. You can put in your own animations if you want to, and I'll show you how and where. So you can walk around with the left joystick, and you can also change that movement speed. I'll show you how in a sec. You can rotate the player's head with the right joystick, and also, of course, you can just rotate your own head to do that. You can pick up the object with a trigger, throw it if you want to, and everything works completely fine. So, oink. Oh, that was weird. Probably because the collider's too big on this. That can be changed too, but yeah, that's weird. Anyway, but yeah, other than that, it works perfectly fine. Again, I just have orbs right now. That's what I'm going to do for my project. If you really want to put in hand models, you can download some free ones and get the animations to work in the scripting, but this also works fine too. So we're going to exit out of this, and I'm going to show you how you can customize your own stuff. In the VR rig right here, if you're going to mess with this too, you can just unpack this completely from the prefab. So in the VR rig here, you'll notice that there's this XR origin. I did not write this script. This comes with the XR stuff. Two scripts I did write, though, are these get inputs. Now, there's get input and then get input 2. What this actually is, this is the right hand's input and then the left hand's input. I thought I could do it all in one script, then I found that it would be better if I separate them. So this is controlling stuff for the right hand, this is controlling stuff for the left hand. You'll see here you can change your look speed with the right for the right hand, which is basically how fast you'll look around with the right joystick. Down here you can change the player speed. And these actually shouldn't be public, but don't mess with those or the input axis, just so I can see them. And so that's how you can change those. Now, if you go up to the rig here on the top left and go under camera asset or offset, you'll see this right hand and left hand here. You don't need to mess with these scripts at all under here, these XR controller and XR direct interactor. Now, if you want to change this sphere thing to a model or whatever, you can go in here, delete the sphere, and put whatever you want in here, which will work fine, and then you can just put a collider on it. One thing I do want to point out too, so with this basic pickup thing here, this, which is an interactable, the reason I sent this over so you have something to go off of, it will need a rigid body on it. It will need this XR grab interactable script, which again I did not make the script. This came with the thing, and I do have a trigger collider and a normal collider on there. Now, as for this in here, you'll want to make sure that the interaction layer mask is set to everything, and you'll want to make sure that the movement type is kinematic. Now, this down here, this is really important too. And the attach transform and secondary attach transform, you're going to want to go ahead and drag the right hand into here like I did, and then the left hand into the secondary attach transform. So that way it knows where to go. And that's all you have to do to set this up. Again, in your actual project, all you have to do is go into my VR stuff, go into prefabs, and you can just drag the rig on in there, as well as the basic interactable if you want for testing. Now, I am going to show you, go inside these get input scripts for the right and left hand, so you can see how you can add your own functionality to it, like if you want to add shooting or something, like while you're holding a gun. I'm going to load this up real quick. Okay, in here, don't need to mess with anything up here. Don't touch my goddamn code. Get your grubby hands off of it. Anyway, yeah, don't worry about any of this stuff. Down here is where you can actually, just kidding, don't worry about this stuff. Stuff in the start, don't touch. This is just a debug.log. I had to make sure this is working. So what we're doing here is we're getting right controller.try get feature value common usages trigger button, and this is basically how you can access the different inputs of the controller with this common usages stuff. So you can also get primary button, which is like your I believe it's A, I think, on the Oculus, and you can output it as a boolean, a float, or a vector 2. I'm outputting it as a boolean because I just want to check if the trigger is being pressed, and if it is, I can do something here. This is just for getting the look around stuff for the axis. You don't have to worry about that. Don't mess with any of that stuff. And then this is just the logic I added in for the turning and stuff. But this right here, whenever you want to add something, you can copy this, put something here, right controller, and then you could do like primary button, and then you could go over here to this new boolean you're creating, name it something else like primary pressed, and then you could create an if statement below it and say if primary pressed, then you can do whatever you want down here, which is super cool. Now, I recommend, there's a ton of different common usages you can do. Like, you can literally access everything on the controller. I recommend doing some more research on that if you want to go more in depth. But this is just very basic how to access that stuff. And again, this right here, this gets not the trigger button that you're using to pick stuff up. That is handled somewhere else. Again, that's not the script I made. This is just there because I'm going to make it so that way when you're holding an object and you press the trigger button on the right controller, you can shoot. And so that's what this is going to be used for. Right now, it doesn't do anything. It just debugged right trigger press. So that's where you're going to go to change stuff in there. And the left is basically the same, but it does handle the player movement, which is this stuff right here. And I also have the trigger button here as well, just like I did for the right, so I can shoot with the left one as well. And that's basically all there is to it. So, yeah. Let me know if you have any problems.